Bear with me, Mayor. I'm trying to figure it out.
That's got a 9 by it.
Just trying to find my screens. Okay, and I believe we're ready whenever you are, Mayor.
Thank you. Do we know if Counselor Trim is registered?
She is there. She just joined in. Counselor Trim, can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Can you hear me?
We cannot hear you.
You cannot hear me. I think.
I do not have you muted.
you
Perhaps
don't
you're
have me
muted on your end.
No, I'm not muted on my end. Nope.
So I'd have to mute her. Now she's muted, so let me try to.
All right. Now it asked me to unmute. Can you hear me?
No, we
Can you hear
still,
me now?
we cannot hear you. No, I'm sorry.
Kathy, have her check which audio she's using. Sometimes when I switch different platforms, that doesn't switch.
Okay, Counselor Trim, I'm not sure if you could hear Counselor Stevenson. She suggested that you check what audio you're using. She said that sometimes when she switches platforms, it may switch her over.
For the
Okay.
microphone.
Can you hear me now?
No, it's,
Can you hear me now? How about now? No? Still no?
no.
All right. Let's try this. Can you hear me now?
So she can hear me. Unfortunately, we can't hear her. And on my end, it is showing that she is unmuted.
I am unmuted, yeah. Here, let me try something. How about now? Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Hello?
Jen is on as an attendee, listen only. I could unmute her. Jennifer Wilson, is it possible to do an audio check with you just to see if by chance we can hear you? If I unmute you?
Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now?
Where is she?
Can you hear me now?
Jen, it's Kathy. I see that you're active now. Can you hear me?
How about now?
Chip Gracie says he can hear her.
He can hear me.
He can hear.
Counselor Trim?
Well,
Can you
we
hear
can't
me?
her.
We can't hear her.
Stupid question, is your volume on 0?
Not a stupid question. It changed my whole app.
How about now? Can you hear me now?
I don't even know where my presentations are, to be honest with you, sir. They've changed everything.
Can you hear me now?
Bear with us, folks. My apologies.
Anybody hear me now? I wonder why you want to use this instead of Zoom.
Why don't you check your audio settings?
Mhm. I can do that. Sounds like I do.
Yeah, he said he can hear Trim.
Oh, can you hear me? I think I just heard somebody say they can
What
hear
is
me.
Bluetooth on?
Anybody
Here
hear
comes
me?
lunch.
Hello?
You think? Okay.
Can you hear me now? Hello, hello? Hello,
Go
hello?
back to the main screen, you
Hear
said?
me?
Go over to audio.
Right there? Or this one? She's coming through that one?
If you click on the audio, maybe you can toggle into a different microphone.
Yeah, I just got another message. Her voice is clear over the remote, but
Can they hear me?
I can hear you.
can you hear Kathy Jack?
Yes, I can hear
Mm.
Kathy Jack. Yep.
She's coming through there.
Can you hear Kathy?
Yeah, Jimmy Lawton says he can hear you.
Jimmy
As well-
Lawton
as
says
well
he
as
can hear
Don,
me,
As well as.
and they can hear her.
Click on the MIC. Let's see what we have.
Mhm.
Any on council on this?
Scientific audio settings, Kathy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she said just updated.
Do you see the one that leads to?
Oh. So then,
Counselor Trim, it's Kathy. Should we try again?
I mean, at the moment.
No.
But we'll look into this when I'm done.
Now we got
Can you guys hear me now? Now? Anybody hear me?
as soon as the answer is set.
Those of you who've done remote more often, period, are the right boxes checked? Question mark. Joining on the phone instead of the computer? Oh, can you hear me? Everybody can hear me now? I see that. Okay. Oh, I can
Okay.
hear you.
Feedback here. Can you hear me?
Someone just hit the mute on the console.
Counselor Trim, it's Kathy. Can you hear me now?
I can you hear me?
Yes.
Perfect.
Okay.
I can't see you now.
That's okay. We're gonna fix that. It's coming in right now. You should get a, okay, we're good, Ann.
Thanks
That's why they call me Icy Kathy.
My grandfather used to make me go out and outside and play with the antenna.
Exactly. I feel like that right now, sir. Okay, Mayor, my apologies for the delay. It appears as though we are ready whenever you are.
Thank you, Kathy. Good evening, and thank you for attending tonight's city council meeting. For those who are attending remotely, the camera in council chambers is set up to show those attending in person tonight. The platform we are using has a raised hand feature. You will notice a picture of a hand in the upper right-hand corner. When we reach the point in the meeting where the public has the opportunity to address council, you can click that button to be given your opportunity to address council. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Kathy, please call the roll.
Mayor Tulley,
Here.
Counselor Selly,
Here.
Counselor Powers.
Here.
Counselor Scamperly,
Here.
Counselor Stevenson. Here. Counselor Tebow,
Here.
Counselor Trim,
Here.
quorum present.
Thank you. And I would note that Councilor Trim attending remotely tonight, but notice was not provided in the agenda published last Friday to that extent. So while Councilor Trim might participate in the discussion at the table tonight, she may not vote on any resolution that comes before council this evening. We have one presentation tonight, and that is from Assessor Lachelle Dilcox.
Hello, good evening. Oh, dear. I do. Don't know if it's gonna work, but I have it. It's right there.
All right, so tonight, the purpose of this presentation is to explain changes to real property tax law 458-A, alternative veterans exemption for 100% disabled vets. All right, so qualifications for the disability exemption currently, you must be a qualified veteran or a spouse where applicable, own the property, use the property as a primary residence, meet wartime service requirements, receive a discharge other than bad conduct or dishonorable, have a VA disability rating, and this is a tiered exemption between, ranges from 15% and up, depending on wartime, combat zone, excuse me, and disability rating. This has been adopted by the local law. It was adopted in 1985. Excuse me. The changes that will take effect, the 2026 law change, it will not take effect until 2027 roll. It doesn't replace any of the other qualifications that we've just talked about. And what it does is it targets the 100% disabled veterans. And you have to be 100% disabled, and you must be eligible to receive federal assistance to acquire or modify a home that's directly related to your disability. So, and it creates a 100% exemption for those individuals. So reducing their assessment to zero. This must be adopted by local law currently. However, there is an amendment in legislation that will, once signed, if passed, will make this amendment mandatory. We won't have an option as of if this gets signed. All right, so it's really difficult to assess the impact that this might have. But what the numbers do tell us is that based on our city's current assessment roll, we have 80 properties that receive this disability exemption right now. 26 of those are rated 100% disabled and could be eligible to meet this criteria. So the total assessed value of those 80 properties is 2.5 million. Their exemption totals are 880,000. Excuse me. What the numbers can't tell us is how many of those 100% rated disabled veterans are eligible to receive that funding for adaptive homes to meet their the suitable housing to meet the nature of their disability created by their service. Next slide, sorry. All right, so theoretically, yeah. So if we're assuming valuation adjustments are lowered at the same percentage as those who are 100% disabled currently, which is 32.5%. Additional exemption estimate would be about $823,000. So based on our current tax rate of $15.17, if this were to have happened now, our tax rate would be roughly $15.20. So not huge. This is the worst case scenario because, as I said, of those 100% disabled veterans, we don't know who would qualify for this exemption. So, any questions?
Questions or comments from council?
So a 3-cent tax rate change is about $820,000?
Yeah.
Okay.
That goes on the assessment, right? So
Yeah.
our assessment would be lowered by that amount. And, and that number goes down a little bit. And so the tax rate would go up by roughly 3 cents.
Right.
Can I?
Go ahead, Donna.
Does the disability need to be service related?
Yes. Did you hear me? I'm sorry.
Yes, I heard you. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Thank you. I
If city,
nodded.
if city council were to consider adopting this law, what is the deadline we would be facing to enact it to be effective for 2027?
So currently, we don't have, because of the new amendment to the legislation, I don't have any information. They have not updated it to any of the applications have not been updated. However, based on the new legislation with the new amendment, it would be made mandatory and that would go into effect in October of 2026. So at that point, the person would have to bring in proof that they received financial assistance for
But the legislation's in place now if we were to voluntarily choose to adopt it.
Right.
What deadline do we face to make it active in 2027 if we chose to go that route?
We would have to have it enacted probably by the end of February to have it go through New York State for April 1st taxable deadline. So it was signed January 2nd, and then the amended legislation was signed on January 6th.
Okay.
Yeah, so we wouldn't have a whole lot of time, maybe by the end of February, but we have to get it voted in through New York State, all that.
Okay,
But
so.
that would be for 2020, that would be for this year, so,
So the amendment is currently in the legislative process in New York State
yes, to make it mandatory.
to make it
Yeah.
mandatory.
So for 2027, it would
if we would
be,
act on that in February with the session just starting, it's probably just a sign off, more or less. I don't know what the amendment is. So with that being said, when would the amendment be signed into law? Would it have to wait until the end of the year with the governor or?
I'm not sure. I just know that both came out within 4 days of each other. Wanda, do you know?
So all I would say is, I think when Lachelle said February, I think she meant February of 2027, not
Oh,
2026.
yes.
But what we'll do is, why don't we flag this for the budget process? By then, we'll certainly have clarity. And if there isn't a mandatory exemption, we'll bring it up as part of the budget process. And if council feels that we need to move forward with a local law, we'll do so in the October, November timeframe, and plenty of time for 2027.
Council comfortable with that?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, thank you, Michelle.
Thank you. Sorry about that confusion. Have a great night, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We have one proclamation tonight for Human Trafficking Prevention Month. I will make that proclamation now. Whereas human trafficking is a public health issue and crime that harms the health and well-being of individuals, families, and communities, often across generations. And whereas nearly 26 years after the passing of the Trafficking Victims Protection Act, an estimated 27.6 million people are subjected to human trafficking globally, with cases reported in every U.S. state and territory. Whereas human trafficking can happen to anyone, but certain populations are at a greater risk, including peoples affected by abuse, violence, poverty, unstable living situations, or social disconnection. And whereas human trafficking is connected to many other forms of violence and exploitation, and often shares common risk and protective factors, such as lack of resources and unsafe environments. Whereas connecting the dots, strengthening communities, preventing trafficking, underscores the need to understand how human trafficking relates to other forms of violence and how we can prevent it by strengthening protective factors at the individual, relational, community, and societal levels. And whereas strengthening communities requires collective action to reduce the conditions that contribute to exploitation, build resilience, and create environments where people are protected from human trafficking and other forms of violence. Whereas the City of Ogdensburg is committed to ensuring that those impacted by human trafficking receive services that are trauma-informed and responsive to their individual needs. And whereas a successful response to human trafficking requires a coordinated community-wide effort that includes collaboration across sectors and with those who have experienced human trafficking firsthand, to ensure that services and programs are effective and meet the needs of all survivors. Whereas every individual, family, community, and organization can help raise awareness, prevent trafficking, and support survivors by learning how to take action at www.acf.hhs.gov/endtrafficking. Now therefore, I, Michael Tooley, Mayor of the City of Ogdensburg, do hereby proclaim January 2026 as Human Trafficking Prevention Month, reaffirming our commitment to connecting the dots, strengthening communities, preventing trafficking, by increasing awareness, improving education on human trafficking, making resources available for individuals and communities impacted by human trafficking, and building diverse public-private partnerships to support a more coordinated, comprehensive response to prevent and combat human trafficking. In witness whereof I have hereunto set my hand and caused this seal to be affixed. Thank you. Right. We have one public hearing tonight regarding an ordinance to amend Chapter 221 entitled Zoning, Section 221-8 entitled Zoning Map, parcel number 59.022-10-5.1, to be rezoned from adaptive reuse to medium density residential. It is going to be bill number 4, and I will open that public hearing now. I note the parcel in question houses St. Marguerite Duville Academy. So if anyone attending in person would like to speak regarding the public hearing, please come down to the podium and you will have 5 minutes to speak.
Good evening, Council. My name is Kristen Hazen. I live in Ogdensburg on Gate Street, and that has always been my home, my family home, since I was 4 years old. When my family moved first into the neighborhood, like most middle-class families, we didn't have much money, but we had a great neighborhood that was family-friendly, child-centric, community-oriented environment. Still today, the neighborhood continues to have the same neighborhood environment, which is why I invested in my neighborhood and decided to buy my family home on Gate Street. I work for Ogdensburg City School District as the school nurse for many years. I pay my property taxes, my school taxes all on time, including water and sewer. I help my neighbors. I do my part because I think our small city, Ogdensburg, is a great place to live, which is why I don't want this change. Our neighborhood being child-centric and why many families choose to live in this neighborhood, there's a public school, Medill Elementary, that has a big park, a youth athletic field, and to note 3 other beautiful parks that include one of those parks at the Parcel, which is the 315 Gate Street. I would like this neighborhood to remain the same without supportive housing. I did FOIL request to have this information and about the rezoning and the plan for the rezone, which I received and I do appreciate, thank you. I received all the paperwork and I found the comprehensive assessment to be careless. And there wasn't much consideration of the impact of our neighborhood. This assessment review method reports it's a free flow style. It does not even list who the agencies are. Is it Father Morgan? Who is the agency? There isn't even enough information to understand if the rezone plan is a single project or is it segmented in phases and included with other segments to make it a whole. I cannot analyze this with the impact of our neighborhood's environment with this assessment. If the assessment review called the 4 basic review criteria discussed in the free flow style, in goal 1, you discussed economic conditions in the city. So how will this impact our neighborhood economically? Will this be a permanent supportive housing or will it be temporary housing? And what impact will supportive housing have on our community if it relies on funding by HUD? What will be the plan if it changes to a more strict base metrics? I only ask that question because if the rezone plan is for permanent supportive housing, this most likely is a housing first model that receives government funding without being accountable to participate in the resources provided with the housing. And that doesn't help root causes such as addiction, mental health, or unemployment. They can reduce the resources and still remain in the housing. That means they can refuse the resources and they can still stay. They just have to prove that they are being housed. I would like to see a more comprehensive assessment for our neighborhood in regards to impacts on human resources, community resources, physical resources, social resources, economic resources, as well as have it include characteristics that would impact aesthetic significance, our history site significance. Also, I'm worried about our seniors and elderlies in the neighborhood as they are a vulnerable population and they also deal with stigma such as ageism. I worry this will increase isolation for elderly population.
Thank you, Kristen.
And if I can add to that, I know I'm here, but I can't make it there. So, but I live in the neighborhood too. And I don't know, like she said, we have no idea of who is planning to do this. We already have a step-by-step building that's in the neighborhood. And I'm gonna be honest with you, it's been nothing but a shit show since it became there. Sorry for my French, but honestly, that's what it's been. My daughter that at the time was a minor, was scared, petrified to be home alone because one of the so-patients, every time my husband and myself left, he'd come to our home and just about broke down our door. And the other neighbors were the ones that came and said, whoa, you know what's going on. You know, so I went back, checked cameras and stuff. It happened over and over. Went to the police department. And I'm not blaming our law enforcement at all. Those men and women do a wonderful job and they're caught when they shouldn't be caught. We need them and we need more. But we were told, well, can't you take care of that yourself? Well, excuse me, but how am I supposed to take care of that myself? I can't even walk myself over there. But you want me and the rest of our neighbors to live next to, who knows? We have no idea what you have planned. I mean, when it was in the paper, it was under the wrong address. And nobody was gonna fix it. And I didn't get a letter until less than 5 hours before this meeting. And I called the city and I said, is it gonna be rescheduled because of the weather, the snow? Do you know what it's like to get out in the snow in this? No. Do you know what it's like to live in an environment like that? And you've got children that are scared out of their minds. And I'm scared out of my mind because my husband he's not home. He was working to pay our taxes. Our home is paid for. Our taxes are paid on time. This city has never waited for our taxes. But we're not being put first. I've got to hold it on. I mean, if you want to spend an hour with me, I can give you story after story after story, and every one of them is a negative story of what's happened with that step-by-step building. One of the people weren't even somebody that's supposed to be living there. We were told that when we took that on in our neighborhood, that it was positive, that these people weren't even going to be able to have visitors. Well, one of their visitors decided to undo his pants, whip everything out, and urinate all over the tree for my minor daughter to have to take a look at. And when I called the cops, when I called to report, they said the only way that you can do that is if your minor daughter is willing to come down and make a statement. Are you kidding me? She didn't want the people knowing that it was coming from our house. And I said, why can't I do it? I'm an adult. I was in the window. I've seen it all. I've seen so much bullshit from that house that, because I mean, let me tell you, I've lived there when it wasn't step by step, and I've lived there, well, it's been step by step. I've been there, our family's been there for over 20 years, and it's been nothing but a problem. And if you think I'm gonna feel safe, and if you think I'm gonna stay, you're nuts. I bet you 90% of our neighborhood will be gone. The big selling point, one big selling point is this is one of their, what was in that, I don't even remember where I got it from, but anyways, they said, well, we want to bring it in because the neighborhood is small. The neighborhood is small. That was a huge buying point for me because across the street, what did I have? I was going to be able to watch children play at a park. I was going to be able to go down a block and go to a baseball game, soccer. What's happening with these kids? Because they're Sunday school. What's the other one that's over there? Head Start. Are you people thinking of these children? That's who you should be investing in. That's the future. Ogdensburg is not a save-all to end-all to whatever use our time to accomplish. Because in all honesty, we don't even truly know. We really don't. And you know, when I look at use, I say to myself, really, can I trust that? Because I don't know if it was a typo or what it was, but the address was in there wrong. Nobody decided to fix that. Nobody decided to let any of the public know until today. It hit my mailbox, well, less than 5 hours before this meeting.
4 p.m. today.
4 p.m. Oh, Rachel, what did you get yours?
I got it today.
Oh, is it?
I got mine.
Yeah, exactly.
We have order. We have order, please, one at a time.
I'm gonna speak, are you done?
I am. Thank you. Thank you. And thank all of you.
Greg McNamara, folks. I just want to point out some more just another point here. Besides, I agree with everyone else that spoke, and they're by no means public speakers, but you can tell they're speaking from the heart tonight, that's for sure. I would say, okay, this isn't the first time this has happened with this crew here. It wasn't long ago we asked to change the zoning at the building next to the fire station that United Helpers is selling. Great. Well, the same thing was done there. We didn't inform anyone as to why. People that lived in that neighborhood came to the meeting and got up here and asked why, or you know, what the plans were. Now, I understand when a developer comes in and wants to do something anywhere, they all like to keep it a secret. But when they want to purchase a property and that given property needs to have a zoning change for them to do what they're trying to accomplish, and it has to go through city council and through these public forums, the secretiveness kind of completely goes out the window for the developer at that point, and it needs to, because here you have concerned citizens wanting to know. It's like you guys have completely tried to keep this a secret, get the zoning change done, swept under the rug, so the sale gets done. Yeah, some realtor makes out hardcore, the church makes out, but at the end of the day, what are you doing to the city of Ogdensburg? Rather than, I agree with everything that people said here about what step-by-step can cause some of the problems they've caused here. I'll just point out their new building's not even done yet. Do any of you know if that's up and running, or if that place is even running yet? Okay, so why don't we let them figure that out and see how that goes, and then we'll take it from there, because this is moving way too fast. It's unfortunate that the most biggest magnificent structure that's been built in the city of Ogdensburg, I would say in the last 10 or 15 years, and any of the other ones similar were for the same types of purposes, and it's sad, it really is. I think it's fair to these people who step by step wants to victimize, and some of them are indeed victims, not all of them. Some of them choose to go down the path, they go down and they end up there. But when you take a group of people like that, they shouldn't all be moved to one place. I mean, these people are coming from different counties, they're coming from places all over. They probably prefer to live by their families. So if someone needs help in Jefferson County or towns away, you know, an hour away from here, do they need to come here? I don't think Ogdensburg has a need for this many apartments. It's not just our problem, and step by step needs to start going to other areas and trying to expand that way. I would recommend to them. And I also heard through the grapevine, and this was from nobody in the city government, but rumors fly around here, and I was told that the city could somehow be sued or something by step for not doing this, because it'd be discrimination if people complain about the issues that have been caused there, the types of people that step by step helps. Clearly, the citizens here don't care. Take the lawsuit. That's extortion, if you ask me. Let them go into another town and try to do that if that's what's going on here, and see how that works out with their government. Thank you.
Thank you. This is not a question and answer. This is an opportunity for you to address us with regards to the zoning request that's been made by the owner, which is St. Mary's Church, St. Mary's Cathedral Notre Dame Church. Yes.
Hello, my name is Sarah Whitcomb. I live right across from SMDA currently. And I would just like to say that we moved into the neighborhood, and one of my most favorite parts about it is that it's summertime. There are so many kids that play on that park. There are so many kids that play in those fields. They use the parking lot to ride their scooters, to play ball against the walls. And I would just urge you to think about the neighborhood before you do something like this. I realize some of these people do need help, but the fact that there's a school right there, there's other parks right there, I'm worried about what will happen to the neighborhood and those kids that want to play there. It's nice to see kids out in groups that aren't on cell phones and are outside, and I just think, I agree with these people. I think it was rushed. I don't think we heard anything about it really. We live right across the street, and this is the first we heard about this was last week, and it was on Facebook until we got the letter today. So again, I think people have a right to be upset about this if this is going to happen, and I do think that you should maybe see how the other building works first before we move on something else. But again, I would ask you to think of the neighbors and the children that play there before you make a decision about this. Thank you.
Thank you, Sarah. I'm sorry, you had one opportunity in the public hearing. I'm sorry. Sorry, thank you.
Hello, my name is Kylie Morrow. I live at 1410 Knox Street, right across from Step by Step on Knox Street. I'm already experiencing this. So I want to address that there have been made concerns about changing the zoning classification due to the proximity of registered daycare over on the other side of town. I know that there's a daycare pretty close to SMDA, and there is a public school close to there. I currently operate a registered daycare out of my home, right across the street from Step by Step. And I am in close proximity to John F. Kennedy, which is a public school. If the presence of a daycare being cited as a concern in the evaluation of the rezoning request, then it must be applied consistently and equitably, because there was no concern when it got put where it is now on Knox Street. To date, similar proximities have not been a concern. There have been many documented incidents that have impacted the safety and the comfort of my children and families that I serve. There have been situations where daycare families have had to wait in their car because they do not feel comfortable taking their children out before entering my home. My employees have had to wait for people who are congregating in the road after they are released from the warming center, because the warming center is only available certain hours of the day. And then they don't feel comfortable exiting their vehicle until the people who have been in the warming center have moved on. I know that the housing and supportive services are a clear need, but the location matters. These are residential areas that we are forcing to be negatively impacted by these housing services. And the new building, which is not completed yet, that will be at Knox Street, we don't know if that will bring even more negative impact to our current situation. But if we are concerned about it being close to a school and a daycare, I urge you to think about the already negative impact that it's brought to daycares and a school. Thank you.
Thank you, Kelly. Anyone else in chambers?
Hi, my name is Christina Thornhill. We live at 511 New York Ave. I guess my biggest question is we run Thornhill Health Managing Services, which services people with traumatic brain injuries and nursing home transitions. So my biggest question is we never saw this property come for sale. One of the things that our company could expand on is a day program for the elderly and individuals with traumatic brain injuries, which would be another service which would allow families to keep their loved ones home. But again, we never saw this. This seems to have just kind of been handed over to another non-for-profit, which again keeps it off the tax maps. Again, if it was actually up for sale for another organization to purchase or buy, Thornhill Medical is not non-for-profit. So I guess that's my biggest thing is it was never publicly put on the market for anybody else to add to the city in a more positive manner.
Anyone else in chambers?
I think they should reach out to the state about the closed jail. That'd be a great place to do that. Set right up for that type of stuff.
And does anybody have any record of how many times the police department, the fire department, the ambulance, how many times that they have to go to every one of these locations? Because once again, I live across the street from one, and these services are tied up a good 3 times a week. I'm going to tell you honestly, in just one location. One. And they have many, and they just want to be dad and dad and dad. Why? Why wasn't it offered to anyone else to do something in a more positive manner? Because I bet there'll be a whole lot of us that would be in agreement to do something that is.
Well, you know, the mayor used to work for the owner of OCCF.
Yeah, that's there, that.
I don't mean to be a dick, but don't look good.
We can have order in chambers, please.
Absolutely, but do you understand the frustration? You have lied to us. You have lied to us. You have kept things from the citizens. We're the ones that put you in the office.
Please, have order, please. Order, please.
And then I told you I wanted to ask another question, and I'm sorry. I didn't realize I only had one.
You have one opportunity.
Okay, I'm sorry about that, but that's another thing that I think is wrong, because,
It's under state law, under public hearings, ma'am.
okay.
It's still protected by the First Amendment, you can talk about order. That's just, don't say it's law, it's not, really, don't do it.
We can have order in chambers, please.
Is he here? Is he in attendance? Is anybody saying his name?
It's not relevant to the discussion for the public hearing.
Oh, wait a minute, wait, because.
Please, ma'am, please. Please, respect and order. Now, if anyone attending remotely would like to speak regarding the public hearing, please use the raise hand feature in the upper right-hand corner of your screen, and you will have 5 minutes to speak.
I do not see any hands raised, Mayor.
Okay. So at this time, I will keep the public hearing open, and we'll speak to this when bill number 4 is introduced later in the meeting. At this time, under personal appearance, if anyone attending in person would like to address council, please come down to the podium and you will have 5 minutes. So if you would like additional opportunity to speak now, ma'am. you can. Yes, please, up to 5 minutes.
He did that to help you out.
I have so much going through my mind, so much. Oh, goodness, I don't even know, the examples that I have given you. I mean, there's plenty more. We can go through more. The window over at such location was broken by one of the, I don't know, I want to be clients. Yeah. So, the window was broken and a report was made. Don't know if anybody did anything, but by the looks of it, no, they didn't do a damn thing because the window stayed broken and people all the time, in and out through the window, in and out through the window like that's a proper entrance. What? And then you have patients from a second-story window throwing full stereo equipment outside on the sidewalk. Like that's normal. What are you gonna do when somebody's kids walking by and he decides, well, I'm just gonna throw whatever out the window because why not? And then for a time period, we had a client. Listen, if you want names, I'll give you names. But I'm not putting names out there, but we had a client that was in there. He was dealing drugs, left and right. And for you to do what you just did right there. Yeah, it happened. I get to watch it. Do you, any of you, are you the name other than Mr. Scamp, really? Because I know he is, but, this is what we have to deal with on a regular, and you want to just keep adding to it? Do something positive for the people. I'm sorry, but I have different things wrong with myself. I'm not constantly asking for somebody to fix it. Augsburg is not a fix-it for every freaking person that is in need of housing, or, I don't know, because the majority of them, they're not there because they're down on their luck.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else in chambers?
Hi, folks. I'm Deb Quinn, and it's quite a volatile issue, I can see. I'm not real familiar with it, but somebody said you were having a meeting tonight. So I just kind of wondered, you know, having a lot of homeless, that is a detractor from the city instead of adding to it. I'm kind of wondering what is the maximum amount of homeless we would have in the city? Like, how many do we have now? And is this going to increase our homelessness? Will they come from all over the county? What are we looking at here? So are we a sanctuary city? Is that what we want to be? Is that what we're trying to aim towards? I'm not really sure, since I'm not sure about the homeless. I assume this is because perhaps Ford Street closed. I really don't know. But anyway, how many people are there going to be? Are they male and female? Are they going to be co-ed? I think I was thinking that the building that folks are talking about on Knox Street, that's by Belmont Courts, right? That one. It's not finished yet, I take it. I don't think that's a great place to begin with, to be close to Belmont Courts for homeless, but I agree with this young lady. I don't think that, and I hate to sound stupid, but I haven't been in Ogdensburg again that long, but it's over by Marguerite de Youville, which is on the other side of town. Okay, so that is near a park, and I assume that school building is.
I'm sorry. Please address council.
Yes, and that's where it's supposed to be, this shelter is the school, St. Marguerite de Youville.
That's the parcel under
parcel.
consideration.
So anyway, if there are obviously an ID check, if these people are illegals, are they going to be shipped out, or are we caring for them too? I would say I wouldn't want to be a sanctuary city. So I would guess that we would hand those over to the law enforcement. Are they from the Ogdensburg city area or surrounding areas? Do they have any ties to the area? If they have no ties to the area and they're just seeing the country on a bus ticket, so to speak, we're not just going to keep them here because they showed up here and they don't belong here. For instance, did they go to school here? Do they have family here? If they do not, and they're just sightseeing, which is a true thing that they do, are we sending them back to their home of record? They can go to social services, get a bus ticket, and get out. You know, we should serve our people. So then are we supposed to be taking people from all over St. Lawrence County to Ogdensburg? And who pays for this? Are there any outstanding warrants on these folks? Are they going to be run through APHIS and see if there's any outstanding warrants? We don't want them with the people that are there, that are legal, that are just plain homeless. We don't want their lives endangered. And do they have any drug offenses to prevent them from being in this building that we're supposing? So are they drug addicts? If they are, what type of programs will they need? And like, what about the medical needs? Who is going to address their medical needs? Will they have workers in this building, wherever it is? I mean, it doesn't matter where the building is, really. So who is going to assure that they comply with the rules? Are they possibly, I would say, going to be on public assistance, Medicaid and food stamps? Because they're homeless, they're going to be on that. So who assures that they comply? I think we're back to having ABODs on food stamps, which is they're only allowed to be on food stamps for 3 months during a 3-year period if they're not doing work. So they need to do, according to what I've heard, 20 hours a week. Who is going to make sure they do the 20 hours and they stay able to be in the building with food, you know, if they're doing their program? And can they do their program? Are they mentally ill perhaps? There's reasons, you know, for the homelessness, obviously. So do they have high school diplomas? Are we checking for that? because that's another problem with homelessness. They have no high school diploma. And how are they going to get one? Are people coming in there to train these supposed homeless people? Then the mental health issues. Of course, Hepburn is, I don't know, we're having a big problem with Hepburn. Are they going to be treated medically there? Who's going to treat them? If they're not compliant with these programs that, you know, they're going to have to do if they stay here, they're not just supposed to be lounging around doing nothing, dealing drugs. Are we going to send them to the homeless place in Syracuse? Because, you know, they just can't sit and do nothing forever. It's not productive for them nor us. So what is the total amount of homeless we will accept in this place in Ogdensburg? I don't know, is it 100? Is it 50? Just all kinds of questions that I came up with in a half an hour. So that's all I got.
Thank you, Jeff.
Thank you.
Anyone else in chambers?
I would like to address the concerns of the warming center. Has there been any thought of disease for the unsheltered individuals that congregate in there, such as TB, meningitis? Has public health made any announcements? I haven't seen any as far as maybe doing a clinic, because my concern is, you know, during these winter months, the transit bus, having them come into Ogdensburg, and then step by step has more facilities, and I'm worried about the elderly. You know, obviously they have a more weakened immune system. And I would like to consider that in the assessment, if, and that would fall under the impact of health of our community, of our neighborhood. And also, I'm just concerns about in the stable housing, like victimization within step by step with unsheltered individuals with each other in the building, and how public safety will handle that, and if they will be like updating their policies. Thank you.
Thank you.
One more quick thing, a question for you is, I know you don't like answering questions. I already heard the answer to this. Is the city gonna benefit at all from this, this happening? And when you get to talk about it amongst yourselves, I hope that you do. If you think there is any benefit whatsoever that you know of at this point, then please describe it. And by show of hands, does anyone here support that? Support the building or OCCS? Step by step getting it? Okay, thank you. I addressed you. I'm addressing everybody, including you. Thank you.
Can I ask a question of the council?
This is not a question and answer period. We're taking comments from the community.
What it's about, what we're talking about? And hold on.
Please.
I'll wait for the end of the meeting.
I'm jumping ahead a little bit. I just don't know if I'll have only 2 minutes.
Yes. No, we're still at 5 minutes, okay?
No, I'm saying for after.
All right.
It's about the home-based business presentation later on. I'm speaking today specifically in response to the implications of this ordinance for licensed childcare providers. As a registered daycare provider operating out of my home, I want to acknowledge that the current text in the presentation exempts licensed daycare providers from inspections, and I appreciate that recognition. However, I think it's important for this council to understand why that distinction matters, especially in light of the documented childcare crisis in our region. According to WWNY-TV report published on January 13, 2026, childcare concerns in the North Country have reached an unprecedented levels, with residents rating childcare as the lowest performing community issue in over 25 years, and reporting growing shortages of affordable and quality care. Additionally, another WWNY article from January 22nd, 2026 highlights local lawmakers and childcare professionals met here in Ogdensburg to address this shortage, and noted that the demand far exceeds the availability. leading to families waiting for subsidies and providers struggling to fill spaces due to staffing and funding challenges. These reports confirm that what providers already know. Licensed home-based daycares are not an option for the local economy. They are essential services upon which families and employers depend upon. Unlike many other home-based businesses, licensed daycares undergo state inspections, rigorous standards, capacity limits, training requirements, and ongoing compliance checks. That is not the case for many other home-based businesses that will be affected by this ordinance. If future policy changes introduce fees, inspections, and regulatory burdens that blur the distinction between typical home-based businesses and licensed childcare providers, the likely outcome will be not fairness. It would be fewer childcare options at a time when we can at least afford them. As this ordinance continues to be discussed, I also urge council to provide clear answers to several critical questions. How will this ordinance be enforced fairly and consistently across different types of home-based businesses? When will any proposed changes actually take place? What would the application for compliance or tier designation consist of? Who determines which tier a business falls under and what criteria? What actually happens if a business operating within a residence does not submit an application? Addressing these questions is essential to ensure transparency and to avoid unintended consequences for businesses that are already providing critical community services. I urge council to recognize the local childcare shortage documented by WWNY-TV, to continue to distinguish licensed childcare providers in the ordinance, and engage with childcare providers before making changes that could reduce access to care. Thank you.
Thank you, Kylie.
Hi, Council. I'm Shannon Thornhill. My wife and I own a few businesses here in the city and a couple outside. And I guess my question to the council is what direction are we trying to take the city in? I'm slightly confused. We have Mr. Park, who is doing real diligence, really trying to pull this city back from the grave that it currently is residing in. All of us taxpayers are doing our best, paying more than I feel my fair share of taxes is being utilized here. So I'm kind of just questioning, what direction are we looking to go in? Are we going in a prosperity direction where we're generating tax revenue? We're utilizing the waterfront. We're actually trying to build the city back up? Or are we just looking for more companies and corporations with their free money handouts and not providing a single thing? Like that nice fellow right there just said, like, what is the city getting? Right? Like my water sewer went back up, but I'm not receiving anything extra for it. Now we're going to have more non-for-profits come in. And I mean, from the report we just read, we're already giving out millions of tax exempt dollars, which is hard to wrap my head around as a middle-class taxpayer. So I'm kind of just wondering, like, what direction are we trying to go in? Are we trying to be successful? Are we trying to bring tourists in? Because I'm going to tell you, we're at the point, my wife and I are, to just be done. We're exhausted. Like, I want to dump these projects as we're trying to revitalize them, dump them, be done paying taxes, and move up out of the city. There's nothing here, and now you're trying to tell me we're going to bring in more despots. People who probably don't even live here. Like that nice lady had said, are they even people here? Like, I'm not technically from Ogdensburg, I'm from Heuvelton. But, you know, I've been here for 15 years. I want to know, where do you guys see us in 5 years? More of a handout state, like city, or more of a, you come here, have great memories, that, because as it is with Ford Street and now the new housing that's down on wherever gate or whatever, I just don't know the direction in which we think we're going in. And I think we really need to focus on what's the direction. Handout, handout, handout. You keep handing out and that's fine, but you remember what you get when you do your handouts. Now, when you get people that invest and actually have money and they're putting towards, they're going to be here. Thank you.
Thank you, Shannon.
Good evening, my name's Arlene Kaya, but I do disagree with another homeless shelter up at St. Marguerite. And the rumor is one wants to go to the old St. Joe's property by step also. But I'm here for the home business new proposal. New York State registered family daycare in our homes. Cities tired of home business proposals not applied, or cities tried home business proposals should not apply the same way applies to other businesses. Family daycare in New York must register or license with the Office of the Children and Family Services, OCFS. Another home is our homes are regularly inspected. Health, safety, program compliance. You must follow strict rules on maximum number of children, staff, child ratio, background checks, training, emergency plans in your homes, physical conditions, exit, smoke detectors, etc. The daycare operates in your primary residence, and the state rules are written so that the programs are treated as a residential use, not commercial storefront. Tier B includes business where customers and clients visit premises which sweep in, parents dropping off, picking up children, even though daycare program is already fully regulated and inspected by the state. Treating family daycare as Tier B home business adds a second layer of permits, hearings, and conditions on the top of OCCF regulations, and you can't make your legal protection children care program look like a commercial use. This is exactly the type of local barrier state policy is trying to avoid because it reduces child care ability for working families, even though the home is already under close oversight. We are not an unrelated side business. Not sure council is aware of funding is gone for child care in St. Lawrence County, and if anyone knew about the meeting at the airport, short of daycare providers in St. Lawrence County. The Tier B home businesses rules and confirm that the programs are permitted residential use subject to state regulations. Tier B home business daycare requires extra city business permits beyond basic zoning compliance, parking, noise, etc. 13 businesses in a year. Yes, it's all been a waste of time because council has not stood up on this matter or wanted to deal with it. Year 3, a business is a business, not Tier A or Tier B. Affidavits sent out, nothing done with them, only with who the city wanted to go after. It needs to be equitable to all businesses. Stop making more problems. The only right thing in the new proposal is a lot of gray areas. Council member reaches out for taxpayers. Look what we got tonight at the meeting. And yes, some got letters. Some department heads are sick of hearing about this matter, but I don't think they have done work right, so they should watch what they say. DRI money means a lot to the city, but I would think so does home businesses and taxpayers. I still love to know why the mayor brought this up at the November 10th meeting. Council can end this. Do something for the taxpayers. We know the city manager did well for himself last year. All we have asked is for this to be done fair, but it hasn't been done fair at all. It needs to be enforced equal across the board, but it's not.
Thank you, Ellen.
Hello, my name is Ted Denny. I live on Albany Avenue, right across from a so-called park where the kids usually play every summer and fall and everything else. But I noticed something last summer. This must have already been a done deal because they already started pulling the playground equipment. And I watched it with my own eyes, and there wasn't nothing wrong with playground equipment, but they're already starting to pull it last summer, so it just must have already been a done deal. And some house counselors, whoever, I used to work for the ARC. I drove that St. Lawrence transit bus. I picked up a lot of these people from step by step and everything else. And if you think everything is just rosy, let me tell you, it's not. Some of the people are all right. But when you get some of them that won't take their meds and just go off, yelling, screaming, threatening, the bus driver threatening the other people. I've seen it happen right down at Step by Step. They've had cops called and everything else because people are just going nuts. And in my neighborhood, that ain't gonna happen. I own a big damn dog. And she ain't afraid of nobody. And I'm not either. They do something wrong in my neighborhood, you better call the damn cops, but they better bring a lot of help. Because these people are not going to be in my neighborhood. I'm 73. I won't take their shit. And if you people have never been around these people, be around them for a while. Because I have. I drove that bus for 7 years. And I'll tell you, some of these, like I said, some are all right. Very cool people who are getting help, who are trying, who understand they have a problem. But these people just ain't from St. Lawrence County. They're from New York City, Rochester, everything else. They get bounced out of one place, they're shipped to another place. Till they get bounced out of that one, then they're shipped to another damn place. This just ain't right. I don't know what in people's agendas or everything else, they're just looking for a fast buck. I'm sorry, they do something to me or mine, they're gonna be called to Albany Avenue. I'll just do it. You don't know what these people are capable of. I do firsthand. For 6, 7 years, I drove that damn bus. I've listened to everybody. I've watched them. I've been threatened. But I'm a pretty big damn guy. I've been threatened to be robbed. I've been threatened to be stabbed. Probably these developers are not telling you that. But I know firsthand. Because I've been there and I've done it. So, hey, you want them up there? Move right up with them. Then you'll see. Because I see firsthand. I've lived it, I still do. So if you want them up there, come live with them. Come see how these people actually act. On their good days. Not just their bad ones. Which are many more than their good ones are. I've seen them yell and scream down at Step by Step, trying to crawl out of the top windows, the top floors and everything else, but no one's mentioned that yet. But I've seen it. And a lot of other people have too. I don't blame anybody here. They know it, they've seen it.
The Border Patrol caught a family with illegals at Step by Step building.
Oh yeah, a lot of them.
A whole family of them.
Yeah. So, hey, you want? Get them in your neighborhood. Because I'll tell you, if they cause trouble in mine, there's gonna be a lot more damn trouble. And I got a lot of backers here, I see. I know you will be, Diane. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Ted.
There, old man. You got a big mouth, come on. Yeah, I wasn't either, but.
Well, I'm here about home business ordinance proposal of 2026. I know you hasn't been discussed it tonight yet, but before you do discuss it, I just have a couple of questions. I might have overlooked it within, the new proposal, but I guess our new affidavit's going to be sent out within this new proposal. Is an affidavit a legal document? Because the consequences, signing a false affidavit. What if somebody doesn't sign the affidavit? Will it have change of language for the enforceability of the affidavit? Because the affidavit has been the biggest joke I've ever seen in my whole entire life with this home occupancy, or no, home business now. Maybe the consequences of the affidavit could be put into the new proposal. It appears from the presentation that the city doesn't have staff or time to invest and seek out business in the future. It wouldn't be right to get the business you have now and not have time to follow up on it. I guess these are my questions. And then this whole situation, and I spoke to the mayor about this last week, is that I don't understand how it is that when I opened up a business, I had to have from code enforcement, not Chief Stowe, I had to have a full inspection on my home. And it wasn't just Kenny that would come in. And then I would get a certificate of occupancy. Off that certificate of occupancy, that shows that you're up to code to run a business. So how are all these other businesses being combined into these businesses without having a certificate of occupancy? And that's not something that Kenny should be giving. Code department should be given that because it comes at a different cost. I don't know. I didn't have a problem when it came to me getting a full home foil on my own house. I got it in 2 days. I've heard other people say tonight that they've gotten stuff in a couple of days. I'm on 2 months over a business that you guys all know that is illegal as crap. And they're paying the residential rate where they should be at least paying, well, underneath the new code tonight, they should be paying residential rates. Well, then you might want to tell Jim Reagan down the road that he better come in and sign the affidavit because he's been paying commercial rates the whole time on his business. What's fair for one is fair for all in this city. You can't just pick and choose who you're going to do. And this is my 3rd year of dealing with this nonsense. And I guess my next question is tonight, maybe code council can maybe tell us if we actually got some numbers from management so that they have something to go off of tonight, because we've been asking it for 2 years and nobody's gotten it. That's all I have for tonight so far.
Now, if anyone attending remotely would like to address council, please use the raised hand feature. The city clerk will recognize and unmute one person at a time, and you will have 5 minutes.
The first individual is registered as Vincent Martin, and I will unmute that individual now. It appears you are unmuted, Mr. Martin. Mr. Martin, can you hear us? His line is open, Mayor. I'm not sure how you want me to proceed. Don't know if
Can
he's
you hear
having
me
tech-
now?
Yes, sir, we can hear you loud and clear.
Okay, sorry about that.
That's okay.
I was born and raised in Ogdensburg. I live in my childhood home, which is right around the corner from OCCS. Several of the council members know me personally. One lived right around the corner from me, across from the school. This used to be a town where we could leave our doors unlocked, run around the neighborhood, not have to worry about anything. And now this city has gone to hell in a handbasket. You want to bring in these nonprofit for the homeless and stuff like that. That's nice. But we've been fighting tooth and nail in this city to try and revitalize it. Why the hell do you want to put in these vagrants that are only going to cause the city more problems in the long run? And we need something that's going to be stable. Bring in businesses that'll bring in jobs for locals here in town. Start doing stuff for the community. You want to do something with the old OCCS? Have the city turn around, take it over themselves. Turn it into a rec center for kids to have something to do. Turn that whole park has been great for the kids in the neighborhood. And now, like the one gentleman said, playground equipment's being removed. What's being done under the table that the city's not letting us know about? We have enough problems in this neighborhood now where people have to keep weapons in their homes to feel safe. I don't leave my house because I'm now disabled, and I'm here almost 99% of the time, and I have to feel safe with having my deadbolts on my doors. Why should I have to be locked in my own house to feel safe? There's too many problems with drug dealers that get busted and they get a slap on the hand and back out in the same day. Why aren't we doing stuff to prevent this and turn the city back to what it used to be? Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Vincent.
One moment, Mayor. I do not see any other hands raised, Mayor.
So that brings us to correspondence. Do we have any correspondence this evening?
We do not.
Next, we have our consent agenda. That the claims as enumerated in general fund warrant number 2-2026 in the amount of $2,156,006.37. And library warrant number 2-2026 in the amount of $0. And capital fund warrant number 2-2026 in the amount of $96,084.72. And community development fund warrant number 2-2026 in the amount of $82.99. And community renewal fund warrant number 2-2026 in the amount of $0 as audited, being the same hereby are ordered paid. I so move.
Second.
Kathy, please call the roll.
Mayor Truly,
Yes.
Counselor Selly,
Yes.
Counselor Powers,
Yes.
Counselor Scamperly,
Yes.
Counselor Stevenson,
Yes.
Counselor Chivo,
Yes.
approved.
We do not have any appointments tonight, so that brings us to items for council action. The first item of business will be read by City Manager Fonda Cronus.
An ordinance to amend chapter 221 entitled zoning, section 221-8 entitled zoning map, parcel number 59.022-10-5.1 to rezone from adaptive reuse AR to medium density residential MDR. This is bill number 4.
Someone care to introduce this? I will introduce this bill. Is there a second?
I will second that.
Okay, before we have any discussion by council on bill number 4 this evening, I'm informing the public of my intention to move to table this resolution this evening, and the reason is this. Last week, I submitted on behalf of City Council a request for an advisory opinion from the city's Board of Ethics upon a possible conflict of interest when acting on this bill for 5 of us who are members of the organization owning the parcel, that being St. Mary's Cathedral Notre Dame Church. They are the ones requesting this zoning change. We have not yet received this advisory opinion from the Board of Ethics. Once received, we will remove bill number 4 from the table for discussion and possible action. I anticipate this will take place at our next City Council meeting on February 9. At the meeting, when the bill will be removed from the table, council will first resume the public hearing to allow for additional community comment. So that is why the public hearing was not closed earlier this evening. So before I move to table this bill, because that motion is no discussion once made and seconded, any comment or discussion on this bill at this time by councilors?
So I have a question. When we open the bill again, and the public hearing ensues, can the same people speak again to it at the new meeting?
We will permit that.
Okay.
Your Honor, will we be also doing new public notices since there were some typos in the public notices that were in the local publications?
Yeah, will Nancy speak to that, please?
Sure. We did have a typo. It was a human error. Kathy, you don't have to raise your hand.
No.
There was certainly nothing nefarious, or there was no plan. It was just a simple mistake by somebody transposing two numbers. I know I've done that in the past, so we will, I think, out of fairness, we'll put another notice in the paper for the public hearing. Every other document that was sent out was correct, and we did notice it on our website, which was the best we could do after we discovered the typo. So we'll put another notification in the paper. We will make sure that all information moving forward is mistaken. The public has our apologies, my apology for the mistake. It was just human error, nothing more than that.
Thank you.
Any other comment or discussion from council? All right, at this time, I make a motion to table bill number 4.
Second.
Kathy, please call the roll.
Counselor Stevenson?
Yes.
Counselor Chivo?
Yes.
Mayor Tully?
Yes.
Counselor Sully?
Yes.
Counselor Powers?
Yes.
Counselor Scamperly?
Yes.
Approved. Tabled.
Our next item of business will be read by City Manager Fonda Cronis.
A resolution authorizing the St. Lawrence County Department of Highways to be held harmless for providing shared services such as paving, signage, road striping, blasting, and other routine maintenance activities to the city of Ogdensburg.
I'll make that motion.
Second it.
Any discussion or comment? Kathy, please call the roll.
Counselor Chivo?
Yes.
Mayor Tully?
Yes.
Counselor Sully?
Yes.
Counselor Powers?
Yes.
Counselor Scamperly?
Yes.
Counselor Stevenson?
Yes.
Approved.
Our next item of business will be read by City Manager Fonda Cronis.
A resolution authorizing the city manager to apply for, accept, and spend per program parameters funding for round 2 of the Municipal Parks and Recreation Grant Program.
Someone care to introduce this?
Motion.
Second.
Just briefly speak to this, Fonda.
Sure. This is a program that was funded in this year's state budget. All of the funds were not expended in round 1, so the state decided to put out a second round. I believe there's $10 million left in the kitty to be had. Maximum grant awards are $900,000 for this program. And we thought it was a good idea for us to try and take advantage of that. The plan would be to build a pavilion in the Greenbelt area for our residents. So we are going to move forward on that as long as council is okay with that.
Thank you. Question or comment? Kathy, please call the roll.
Mayor Tully?
Yes.
Counselor Sully?
Yes.
Counselor Powers?
Yes.
Counselor Scamperly?
Yes.
Counselor Stevenson?
Yes.
Counselor Chivo?
Yes.
Approved.
Right, and at this time, I'm going to introduce a resolution from the floor. And I note that since this was not on the agenda, it will require 5 or more votes to pass. This is a resolution advocating action to resolve the financial crisis at Claxon Hepburn Medical Center. Whereas Claxon Hepburn Medical Center has been a lifeline to the city of Ogdensburg for over 140 years, providing outstanding healthcare services to city residents and those in our neighboring communities throughout its history. And whereas Claxon Hepburn Medical Center has experienced cash flow challenges since July 2025, when payments from the New York State's Vital Access Provider Assurance Program were suspended, which in part has resulted in financial crisis at the hospital. And whereas as a result of this financial crisis, over the past few days, Northstar Health Alliance announced layoffs of 120 employees in its operations. At least half of those employees were working at Claxon Hepburn Medical Center. And whereas the loss of these jobs at Claxton Hepburn Medical Center results in hardship to those laid off, hardship to remaining staff at the hospital, hardship to the citizens of Ogdensburg and our neighboring communities as services are reduced or eliminated. And whereas as of this date, ongoing discussion between North Star Health Alliance and the New York State Department of Health have not successfully concluded so that VA PAP stabilization funding can be provided at Claxton Hepburn Medical Center, thus exacerbating the hospital's fiscal crisis, resulting in fear in our community of additional layoff of hospital staff, further reduction of healthcare services to our residents, and great concern that Claxton Hepburn Medical Center may close, an act that would be devastating to the city. And whereas it is advocacy in this matter on behalf of Claxton Hepburn Medical Center and the city of Ogdensburg, Assemblyman Scott Gray has characterized the current situation as a crisis threatening healthcare stability. And that, quote, we must acknowledge the community's concerns, respond directly to them, reconcile any differences in the information exchange between North Star Health Alliance and the New York State Department of Health, and lay out a clear path to resolve these issues. Further, the time for decisive action is now. The community can't afford to wait any longer, and frontline healthcare workers shouldn't have to carry the weight of uncertainty any further. And whereas Assemblyman Gray has suggested options should funds for Claxton Hepburn Medical Center operations not immediately be provided. Such options being: one, deploy a Department of Health triage and management team on the ground at Claxton Hepburn Medical Center to stabilize operations, ensure patient safety, and provide regular transparent updates on services and staffing timelines. Or two, evaluate the possibility of immediate receivership or appoint a qualified interim operator, preferably a local institution from St. Lawrence County, a conflict-free entity. And whereas Ogdensburg City Council concurs that immediate action is needed to stabilize operations at Claxton Hepburn Medical Center, now therefore be it resolved that Ogdensburg City Council urges North Star Health Alliance and the New York State Department of Health to act without further delay to resolve outstanding issues and implement a clear and immediate financial remedy, including the release of VA PAP stabilization funds or other appropriate interim funding necessary to stabilize operations at Claxton Hepburn Medical Center and protect access to essential healthcare services. And be it further resolved that Ogdensburg City Council, in the absence of immediate release of funds to Claxton Hepburn Medical Center, encourages the New York State Department of Health to pursue the options recommended by Assemblyman Scott Gray as outlined in this resolution to ensure the hospital's future and protect the health and safety of our community. And be it further resolved that certified copies of this resolution be forwarded to Governor Kathy Hochul, Assemblyman Scott Gray, Senator Mark Walczyk, North Star Health Alliance, and the New York State Department of Health. I so move.
Second.
Questions or comments from council?
Well done.
Kathy, please call the roll, please.
Counselor Selly?
Yes.
Counselor Powers?
Yes.
Counselor Scamperly?
Yes.
Counselor Stevenson?
Yes.
Counselor Tebow?
Yes.
Mayor Tulley?
Yes.
Approved.
That brings us to oral business, and our first item of business tonight will be beginning with City Manager Fonda Cronis.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Appreciate the time. The management team was asked to take another look at the home business ordinance and how it's currently being implemented and any potential changes or improvements or upgrades to the policy. So the management team put their heads together, and I would like to hit some of the highlights of what we came up with. So Kathy, you have it? Oh, great. And you are on the correct slide as always. No reason really to go through the details of this, but management does recognize that the solution that we put forward last year is not a perfect solution. And quite honestly, we're not going to get 100% compliance on this, just like we don't get 100% compliance on anything else that's voluntary compliance. But we do recognize that this is not a perfect system, and hopefully some of the ideas that we put on here maybe make it slightly more perfect. So if we'll go to the next slide, Kathy. Management proposal basically categorizes home businesses into two tiers, Tier A and a Tier B. Tier A, in my mind, we talk about it as maybe being home business light, and Tier B being maybe home business heavy, just to use some vernacular there. The Tier A is a business activity conducted entirely within a dwelling by a resident occupant with the following characteristics. No customers or clients are permitted on the site, no non-resident employees, no exterior evidence of business activity, including signage, parking, and the like. The Tier B, which we would consider more home business heavy, is a business activity conducted within a dwelling or accessory building that involves one or more of the following criteria. Customer or clients visiting the premises, including transient occupants or guests, bless you. Regular deliveries or pickups, one or more non-resident employees, short-term rental activity or bed and breakfast use. And the ordinance that we've put together does go into and define some of those terms, short-term rental, and bed and breakfast. One of the criticisms that the management team heard was there weren't enough detail or specifics, so what we've tried to do is clear some of that up. And so some of these definitions here and the criteria are there as just benchmarks to go after and utilize for decision making. So if we'll go to the next slide, Kathy, we put together a little flow chart here to try and explain the process a little bit better. Hopefully a visual is helpful for folks. It all starts with an application, right? A home business would complete an application and submit it to the city. The zoning administrator would take a look at that, evaluate that application based on the criteria that we just went over, and determine whether it is a Tier A or a Tier B. If it's a Tier A, the Tier A special use permit would be issued, and a small application fee would be paid just for processing. A 3-year renewal process would just continue to go year after year after the 3 years are up. Tier B, a little bit more to it, because there would need to be an inspection conducted. I think it was mentioned earlier, but I think it's worth mentioning again. Any business under this ordinance update who has an inspection from a state or a federal agency would be exempt. There's no need to inspect more than once on these things, and our ordinance recognizes that. Assuming a good inspection, a positive inspection, a Tier B special use permit would be issued. Utility fees would be assessed for Tier Bs, not for Tier As, but for Tier Bs. And again, it's a 3-year renewal. If we move on, before we move on, one last thing. So one of the criticisms on the current system is that there's really, I don't want to call it accountability, but some folks think there isn't any accountability on the decision making. So what we decided to do as a management team is recommend having an appeals process. And the ordinance will go into some of the details, but basically what would happen is if the applicant is not happy with the designation of Tier A or Tier B, they can certainly appeal that. The appeal will be heard by the planning board, and then the planning board, which is made up of 5 citizens of the city, can base that decision and their appeals review process based on the criteria that are set forth within the ordinance itself. So there would be a check and a balance on that. Now we can go to the next slide. I did talk about proposed utility fees. I'm talking about water and sewer. And the management team recommends continuing imposing fees for Tier B and at the same level that council currently has. The management team is not recommending going any higher or any lower. The rate that is currently assessed, which is the midpoint between the residential rate and the commercial rate for a 3/4 inch line, is what council has determined is the right fee. And I don't believe it's management's inclination to go against council's thoughts on that. And Kathy, if you would go to the last slide for me, please. Again, management recognizes this is imperfect, and we also need to understand that any policy has trade-offs. What is a good policy for some people is not a good policy for other people. And in the business, we call those trade-offs, and it's council's job to weigh those. We believe this, the management team, is a two-tiered system, recognizes that a one-size approach does not necessarily fit this. There's no way we can anticipate all of the different permutations and combinations and home businesses that folks are going to be in the creative economy coming up with that would work through the home. We believe that there are plenty of guidance and details here, but we still have to have situations where judgments are made, whether people believe it or not. Judgments are made in City Hall all the time. We believe the appeals process helps make sure that there's a check on that judgment. And the two-tiered system is about as fair as we're going to be able to get in this circumstance. I will also point out that the management team, and me in particular, believes that eliminating the water and sewer utility increases for Tier B offers the wrong incentives and asks others to subsidize for certain for-profit businesses. And we hear lots about equity. Here's a trade-off of equity as well. Eliminating that would put additional costs on those people who are already paying that are not part of that business community. The city does have a compelling health and safety requirement, and so that's what inspections are there for. And this policy does assess some modest fees based on the level of administrative work required. Again, there is no perfect solution, and I'm here to tell everybody that when we install meters, it still will never be perfectly equitable. Somebody is always going to pay more than their fair share when there's minimums. There will always be some people that get to use a little bit more water than somebody else and still pay the same rates. So there is no perfect system here. If there is one, I haven't been able to figure it out, and I don't believe anyone else is going to as well. Meters will help, but they will never solve this problem. And another big issue from some people in the public is always about enforcement. And no matter what, this is voluntary compliance, everyone. It's the way that things work. Voluntary compliance about parking, voluntary compliance about building permits. It's true about almost every city policy, not just this one. Just because some people are bad actors, it doesn't mean that we should scrap every policy. A lot of people don't get building permits, and they should, right? Does that mean because some people don't, we should eliminate the whole building permit process? I don't believe that that's the case. And of course, this is something that everybody who's spoken about has said this has taken a long time, lots of effort. And the management team does just urge council to take this recommendation under advisement, certainly comment on it, make it better if you feel that there's some good parts of this. But the management team, and especially myself, urges council to make a final decision on this in whatever direction council feels is right. We have other priorities that we'd like to start working on, and every time we have to stop to revisit this issue, it takes away from those issues. And I believe we spent lots of time and provided lots of information to council on this issue. So I'll open it up to questions if council has any questions on this.
I have one, Fonda.
Yes, sir.
I agree with the ordinance. However, I disagree with the voluntary compliance portion. Once the city identifies that a business is in operation and they have not filed an application or filed an affidavit, some type of enforcement action needs to be taken. We can't continue to ignore businesses that are running as businesses and are not being properly taxed or priced in that category.
And the management team agrees with you, and it's with the city attorney to determine what an appropriate penalty or enforcement measure would be. So we're digging into that.
But I just feel strongly we can't totally depend upon somebody else reporting it to us, once it's become obvious that it's going on. We do that with the police department. The parking ordinances are pretty much enforced on a complaint basis. But if our police officers see somebody that's obviously parked incorrectly, they do, at least I hope they're taking some type of action. They're not ignoring what they're seeing. And we can't do the same thing.
We agree with you on that, sir.
Your Honor, I have a few questions.
Yes, please.
So tier A and tier B, I just want to verify, and I'm sure that it's the case, but whether you're a tier A or tier B business, home business, you would still have to meet all current zoning. That doesn't allow you not to meet current zoning for an allowable business in a neighborhood.
Correct.
And then secondly, I do agree with Counselor Silly. I don't think we can depend on businesses self-identifying. It hasn't worked. And I think we need to have at least some kind of an assurance of what efforts will be taken to identify these in a better manner, whether it could go back to the affidavits that have been signed and give those that filled those out another opportunity to replace those affidavits with maybe a more correct affidavit if that's the case under the new compliance. And I'd also like to know, not today, I know you don't have the information, but how many businesses have we identified since the new code to date? Because I think this is really a good, it's a good outline. I think that it's never going to be perfect. I agree with that. I think this is much better than what we enacted a little while ago, but I would like to know how many home businesses we have identified since then so that we can make a good decision on this.
We'll provide that information for you.
Sure. Thank you. Right. Anyone else? I just have a couple of questions for clarification. For the home occupation tier A, where it says no non-resident employees are permitted, does that mean resident employees and volunteers are permitted?
Yes. But certainly, council has, this is a proposal, it's a recommendation. Council can certainly tweak the language any way it feels is correct. What we're trying to do is provide as much guidance and detail as we possibly could come up with, but still leave enough gray area for those situations that we can't anticipate, but they're likely to come to us at some point in time. But certainly, we ask for council's guidance, we ask for council's thoughts on these, and certainly if there's language changes to be made, we welcome that from council.
So I just look at that, what you're talking about is like, for example, a contractor, Jim's builder, and he's living there, maybe his kid works for him or something, but they don't have customers coming to their house, using their bathroom, things like that. He's got a business, and he works out of his home. So that's
certainly an example of a tier A that the management team would identify as a tier A.
Could we clarify that a little more though? Because sometimes with home contracting or any home business, if the business owner lives there, but they're doing their accounting from that location and customers are dropping off, picking up estimates, dropping off money, does that start to impact a tier A or tier B?
I would ask council to clarify that for us at this point.
Thank you.
I don't think it does. If somebody's dropping off a check,
No, but I'm thinking, if a home occupation, let's say is running a business out of their residence, which includes an other facility, a shed or a barn or garage or something, and there's employees or volunteers doing work there to produce a product. To me, those people being on property, if utility fees are going to continue to be assessed, should be assessed to that property. And in this case, based on what's defined here, they wouldn't be. So that would be something I would question. And have we defined who the zoning administrator would be?
The zoning administrator is myself at the present time.
When you say non-employee, non-resident employee, that means someone not living in that house?
Correct.
Okay.
So for instance, if someone has one person work for them and they drive their car there and park out front of their house and they leave in the morning to go work anywhere not on that property, or they have tier A business still? Is that what are you guys desperate to keep overtaxing everybody or what? You don't even make $2,000 off the people you're taxing now. And you said that if we put a burden on everyone else, it wouldn't even raise their taxes one penny. You just got rid of this bullshit. What do you think? You just keep.
Okay, there'll be time to comment again later in the meeting.
Well, you guys, as council, should put in the check. It's easy just to get rid of this BS charge.
Please withhold comment until the later part of the meeting.
You're failures at your job. You really are. You're a monarch.
Any other questions or comments from council? So I think the path forward then is to provide management with our questions or thoughts for further modification before we get to the point where this gets introduced to us for a public hearing on a possible change and revision in the ordinance.
Yes.
And hopefully something we can move on soon in the next month or so, 2 months maybe, to set an effective date sometime later in the year. Say if you come, it's come effective July 1st with the applications can be submitted starting beginning maybe in April, May, June. Just off the top of my head. Does that seem reasonable to manage?
Seems reasonable.
It does. Management would be most welcome for all of that.
Okay. All right, next, the local share of the SWIMS grant.
Sure. At the last meeting, we had a presentation discussing that, and we were looking for some guidance from council as to preferences on where to locate the local share of that. So I believe that council needed a couple of weeks or requested a couple of weeks to think about it. So I'm bringing it back up, bless you again, to see what council's preferences are so that we can prepare the proper resolution.
I sense from our discussion at the last meeting following this presentation, there was a consensus or else the majority felt that a combination of use of fund balance and short-term borrowing was the approach we should take. Is everybody on board with that?
Yes.
Yes.
And in terms of use of fund balance, I think it was suggested that the example used of 374,000 seemed high, and something in the range of 200,000 to 250,000 might be considered.
Yes.
Is there a preference to that number?
I think 200.
200,000, would everybody be good with that?
Yes.
Okay. So $200,000 use of fund balance and short-term borrowing.
Appreciate the guidance. We'll have a resolution at the next meeting for you.
Thank you.
Sure.
And then an update on the heat in the prison.
Sure. I think everybody knows the answer to this already, especially since it was on the media, but we were asked the question. And so we do confirm that the heat in the prison is turned off, as well as the water.
Question or comment?
I mean, it's going to be another building that just goes to waste. Brand new building, brand new heat system. It's on a mental health campus and kind of relates to the issue that we're talking about all night here. So, and just so you know, council has passed a resolution supporting the use of that facility for something like that already. So, but.
Any other old business? Does anybody have any new business to bring before council this evening? Okay, brings us items for discussion, and the first topic is city beautification and mural program.
That's a typo on my part, Mayor. I'm sorry, it shouldn't be there.
Okay, that shouldn't be there?
No,
Okay.
sir.
Any items for discussion from council?
I would just like to let council know that I will be remote at our next meeting. I will be in Albany for the New York State Association of Realtors meetings, but I will be attending remotely, and I will get you the address at the Desmond Hotel Business Center so that it can be properly noticed, and I'll be able to participate fully.
Thank you, Jen. Anyone else? I do have one follow-up and update. As you recall, late in the year last year, council adopted a resolution in which we sought federal government assistance to deal with the water chestnut problem in the St. Lawrence River. And so copies of that resolution did go to our federally elected representatives. Each of their offices got back to me saying they would forward it to the appropriate departments and agencies of the federal government to see if we can get some assistance. Last week, I was contacted by Mary Jo Richards from Congresswoman Stefanik's office that she had arranged for a Zoom meeting, remote meeting with representatives from the city with the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers. And so I sat in that meeting with Professor Brad Baldwin of St. Lawrence University, who is a leader and the leader in dealing with organizing, trying to eradicate this problem. And unfortunately, it was a 9 o'clock in the morning remote, so Councilor Scamperly was unable to join us. But we had about a 40-minute conversation. I thought that went very well. The end result being that the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers will send us a proposal to look at for some short-term, I don't know if remedy is the right word or not, but where they would provide resources and initially have a team come up here for a couple of days, hooking up with Professor Baldwin and others as appropriate, to firsthand get a look at the problem on the river, maybe the Tibbetts Creek area. One of the things that Professor Baldwin spoke to was the challenge of examining the problem that wasn't specifically offshore. Because right now they can only take a look offshore of the problem. Their concern is other areas of the river, islands, whatever. And so, and some of the concern is that in some areas, the boats that we have locally aren't able to get into some of these areas. So they will be providing, the boats and staff ready to come up to do some analysis and then provide some suggestions to help us deal with this invasive species. And in follow up to that, if there's any thoughts about long-term resources to apply, to help eradicate this as best we can, we'll take those follow-up steps. So it was a very productive meeting, and I just wanted to make council and the public aware of that. So that brings us to citizen participation. At this time, if anyone attending in person would like to address council, please come down to the podium and you will have 2 minutes. 2 minutes.
Thank you very much. My name is Jennifer Shaver. I'm a member of this community for a long time. Not an employee of Claxton currently, but I was for 30 plus years, leaving on the best of terms because of career opportunity. The reason I'm here is to speak very briefly about critical access hospital designation. Everything is being played out now in front of us regarding our hospital and what's going on, and I can't even begin to speak to that because I have such deep personal feelings. I wanted to share with council what a critical access hospital is, and please forgive me, I don't mean to insult anybody, but I was a nurse administrator at another hospital that went through this transition. I have worked with critical access hospitals nationally. In fact, even though I'm retired, I still participate in many quality improvement projects. A critical access hospital is a 25-bed hospital that has CMS federal designation, so we can be compared to any other critical access hospital in the United States. Wonderful. 25 beds. Our length of stay is limited to 96 hours. Now, that doesn't mean if my grandma is very sick and she's not ready to be discharged, we can't keep her. I used to tell my nursing directors, you can't gain 20 pounds till you gain 5. So we would report our length of stay, our average daily census. This was a very innovative, bold move to create a critical access hospital within a behavioral health unit. Very, very good move. I also worked on vital access provider grants, applied and received millions of dollars of grants, did the reports, accounted for the money, and I'm not quite sure that it cost a lot of money to transition to a critical access hospital. We cannot afford to lose even 25 critical access beds. Right now, 4 primary care health centers gone. Sorry.
Please continue.
4 primary health centers gone. When those people, those handful of people that can't go and see their primary, Hammond, Morristown, that catchment area, Madrid, Waddington, they've been told, the community and the employees, I'm not an employee, but I am a happy member of the auxiliary of Claxton. They've been told you can go to Carthage, that's 76 miles away. Those people that are not getting their primary health care, what's going to happen when they show up in the ER? Because as part of a critical access hospital, you are required to have an emergency department. Hallelujah. You're not required to have 24/7 surgical services, however. So if that is abandoned and thrown out, your 12-year-old with appendicitis is going to be transferred, okay? Your OB unit, I did OB for a little while. Your OB unit, you don't have to have 24/7 surgical services to maintain a couple maternity beds. However, as an administrator, knowing what is required to take care of obstetric patients, there's 2 things. You meet all the requirements of the regulations, which are stringent, means getting ready, training your ER staff for emergency deliveries, or you abandon the OB beds. What do you think is going to happen? So that said, I know there's a lot going on tonight. I have no skin in the game other than I'm a community member. I spent 35 years in that hospital. It gave me every opportunity to move forward. I was able to get a doctorate in nursing practice. I care very much. I want to stay in this community. I have little grandchildren that live down the street, actually across from St. Marguerite de Viewville, but I was quiet. So I'm sorry that I exceeded my time. I want to offer myself. I know each and every one of you, except Mr. Cronus. I'm sorry. It's nice to meet you. And Mr. Tebow, I believe you had my children in school. Thank you. So if I can be a resource, I do not present myself as a subject matter expert, but if I can be a resource in any way. And there's a prayer vigil at the hospital Wednesday at 6 p.m. Oh, not at the hospital park. Wednesday, 6 p.m. Please be there. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Jennifer.
I think most of you know me except the city manager. I'm Cindy Wilson, and I want to thank the mayor and the city council for the proclamation tonight about human trafficking. I think you know that we formed a committee last June to get people in the area to know more about what was happening with human trafficking. We had a forum in September that was very successful. There is a program tomorrow at 4 o'clock at the library where Kobe Harrington will be speaking again. I think it's also very exciting that the library has come up with a book list for adults that will be available. And we just got word the other day that BOCES has developed a book list, K-12, for teachers throughout the North Country. So thank you for the proclamation. We really appreciate it.
Thank you for bringing it to our attention, Cindy.
So a lot has happened today. I'm not fully up to, I was at work, so I haven't been able to keep up on everything, but my name is Julie Bush, and I'm a proud 1199 SEIU delegate representing 373 staff members at Claxton Hepburn Medical Center. I have worked in our radiology department as a registered CT and a registered rad tech for 34 years. I never dreamed that I would have to come and plead for your help in stabilizing the future of our hospital. I've deleted a bunch of stuff that I have because events have gone on in the media today as an update to our situation. But when North Star did announce the layoffs of our 1199 staff and the closure of some of our rural health clinics, it caused panic about the abrupt loss of income to our members and access to health care for our own staff, let alone the community that we serve. If something is not done immediately, our city and surrounding towns
may continue to lose more medical services that may end up including our dialysis and the cancer centers. The survival of our facility is inseparable from our community's well-being. Hospitals are among the last anchors of stability in our northern New York region. Closure would trigger catastrophic consequences for public health and economic security in our region. I want to thank the city of Ogdensburg, especially Mayor Mike Tooley, for your immediate advocacy alongside our 1199 SEIU union and the NISNA union. I'm grateful for all the community support that I've seen on Facebook over the weekend, and especially our hospital retirees who are strongly advocating alongside us to keep healthcare here in Ogdensburg. I came for a job at A. Barton Hepburn Hospital in the summer of 1991, and I ended up staying for a career. And that's the option that I want for my coworkers and the rest of the 1199 members at the hospital. Thank you.
Thank you, Julie. Now, if anyone attending remotely would like to address council, please use the raise hand feature. The city clerk will recognize and unmute one person at a time. I'm sorry. Hold on, Kathy.
I can't go.
Yeah, I understood. I understand.
I just want to know, if anyone on council tell me like who is supposed to be in charge of the step-by-step building that is not presently on Manchester? Can anyone tell me who's supposed to be manning that? Because I lived there for 20 plus years, I haven't seen anybody. I haven't seen anybody. One little old lady, not sure what her name is, God bless her, but if she's the one that's in charge, I say to this with the most respect, but if she's the one that is keeping, you know, everything kosher, which it's not, I say this with the utmost respect because I'm disabled as well, but this woman can't get out of her own way. So, and that's what I'm trying to say here. But honestly, if someone, please tell me who is supposed to be in charge of that other than step by step. There's got to be someone. Can anybody know? Anybody know? Nobody knows. But you want to put another building like that in my neighborhood, and I'm supposed to be feeling safe, and my children that have already been threatened by these so-called clients, we're supposed to feel safe and secure. And just like that man said, if they continue to come on my property, as they have in the past, and continue to do so, I will do whatever it takes to make sure my children are fine. And I'm telling you ahead of time. And I'll tell you what, my disabilities never stopped me, and it's not stopping me now. Because I'll do whatever it takes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else in chambers?
Okay, it's me again, Arlene. The city is worried about money. All the city lives off is grant money. Raises have been given out to people, and then firms have been hired, and the raise has not been given back. Can you explain that to me? Who's the management team? Jen, 13 businesses have been found since this went into order. Inspections were just done. 2 were not up for an inspection. Everyone was expected except 1. Can you explain to me why you didn't get an inspection?
Please
Because you
address
didn't.
council.
Well, he didn't get an inspection, and I want to know why. He's the one that came up with all this. And there is a lot of gray areas, as you saw, no inspection done by him.
Thank you, Arlene.
I would just like to point out again at the podium, I said this from the crowd. I believe you guys aren't making so far as a total of, it's just under $2,000 from the home business charges from the, however, 13 or 15, wherever they said businesses that are being charged. If you just eliminate the charge, which is what I think was the main goal that, you know, the daycare providers have been looking for the last 3 years. This whole presentation that was given tonight on this new system, it's the same thing he's been doing. Like, it doesn't, it's just another answer that nobody wants to hear. You guys, you can't just pick one group of people to charge. You can say, well, there's going to be inequities no matter what. Yeah, there will be, but you can't just pick one group of people to charge. Maybe we should have Mr. Burley come to a meeting and get at the podium here and speak about that, the specificity of that it's just one group, because I cannot get through my head why you guys think that's okay. And it's not. And I've heard from enough of yous that we would have enough votes to just get rid of the charge for now. And not one of you have had the courage to go against the city manager and do what you can do. It's your right as a council member to put forth a resolution, just simply stating, you know, until we get meters, or for 2 years or sometime down the road, a period of time, we're going to eliminate this charge. And it won't hurt the city at all. At $2,000 won't hurt the city. Like Arlene just stated, we've handed out all kinds of raises. We gave raises to department heads who were already paid very, very well to begin with. And another thing I would like you guys to report back on, I asked at the last meeting, no one really seems to want to get this information, but I've asked more than once. I would like to know how many of the city employees don't reside in Ogdensburg and don't own a property in Ogdensburg or pay any taxes here. Because like I said before, we're providing a lot of great jobs to towns and villages outside of this area, and that's where all the money's going. And it would be interesting to come up with a number or an estimate of how much money in tax revenues the city is losing by allowing all of its employees to live outside of the city, or however many that want to. Thank you.
Thank you, Craig. Anyone else in chambers? Now, if anyone attending remotely would like to address council, please use the raised hand feature. City clerk will recognize and unmute one person at a time, and you will have 2 minutes.
I do not see any hands raised, Mayor.
We have a resolution to adjourn to executive session, so I will introduce that. Whereas City Manager Fonda Cronus requests an executive session with members of the Augsburg City Council to discuss proposed pending or current litigation, and whereas New York State Open Meetings Law permits City Council to adjourn to executive session for such purpose, now therefore be it resolved that City Council adjourn to executive session to discuss proposed pending or current litigation, and be it further resolved that any action resulting from this executive session shall be taken in open session. I so move.
Second.
Kathy, please call the roll.
Counselor Powers?
Yes.
Counselor Scamperly?
Yes.
Counselor Stevenson?
Yes.
Counselor Tebow?
Yes.
Mayor Tulley?
Yes.
Counselor Sully?
Yes.
Approved.
And we do not anticipate any action following executive session, so I'll make a motion to adjourn from executive session.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Meeting adjourned following executive session.